Hi everyone, Christine here from Cherry Vintage, cherryvintage.com. This is the first video in a series I'm planning to make where I try to answer a question that a fellow YouTube picker has sent to me. And I thought I would make videos of it because I don't always know all the answers to these things, and you know, it's a good way to pass the knowledge around. It's a good way for you to interact with me and tell me if I've missed something. And some of it might be useful if you found these items while you're out picking. So the first question that I'm going to address came from Rachael B. That's the channel. And the title of her video is "No Clue Why I Have So Many Watchers on This Hat I Am Selling on eBay." Okay, so now it's completed, and I'm sorry, but I didn't have a chance this Memorial Day weekend to go do this, so we'll have to go ahead now and take a look at it as a completed listing and see off the top of my head if I can figure out why it was so desirable. Alright, here's the completed listing, and before I start I wanted to say two things. First of all, if this doesn't come through too well as a video, I'll work on that, but I've never tried to make a video off of my computer screen, so I don't know how well the visually that's going to look. And then also too, please keep in mind that I'm not telling you you did something wrong. If I say something, I'm just giving you my feedback of maybe how I would approach it. So please just take it as one woman's opinion. If it's useful to you, then use it. If it's not, then just disregard it. Okay? So first I would look at the title. If we can use this to look. And I think what helped your listing is, let's see if I have anything to point with up there, where it says genuine fur felt hat. That's going to be important. And it's good to put the brand name in there too, but the thing is, I looked on Google and I didn't see any information about Westchester Supreme as a brand. If anybody has any information about that, I would be very interested in it, especially if you have any old advertisement showing any of these hats. But the thing where I might suggest that you not put in again would be right here where it says very rare, because truly this is not a very rare hat. Okay, that just comes from my experience, many years of buying and collecting vintage clothing. It's not very rare. And so, not to me, but to some buyers, they kind of, how can I say it? I don't want to say they don't know, they see you as a seller who doesn't know what they're doing. That's rude, but I'm trying to think of a better way. They just see you as someone, let's say, who is inexperienced, okay, in selling it. So when you're trying to establish trust in your customer base, you want to be sure, to the very best of your ability, to make sure that you put things in the proper decade when you're selling vintage clothing and accessories, and that you have a good understanding if something is mint, rare, very good, excellent, etc. And that just comes, you know, as you're learning. So I only mean it in that respect. And something I think was very well done here is that you put in the size, because that's important for most men, because most men, I believe, are going to wear their vintage hat and not just collect it. Alright, so down here, if I can make my tripod work, I see that it sold for $78, $77, so congratulations on that. If it were mine, I might have skipped the free shipping, because if you're going to ship this hat and ship it well, it's going to need to be packed carefully, and when you carefully pack a hat, there should be, in here, at the very least, you should stuff the interior of the crown with tissue paper, and you know, you're going to want to cover it in plastic or bubble wrap it. Oops, there goes my pretty. Sorry about that. And then put it in a box that obviously will fit it. You really don't want to make it crushed or folded in any way, because this is a fur felt hat. Here's the interior. And when you look into a hat, you want to check that the lining, that white part's called the lining, is intact, or like, you know, what is the condition? Because if it's a very old hat, even if the lining is sort of shot, sometimes, because often the lining is silk in the better quality hats, and sometimes they call it, or not sometimes, they always call it, silk is shot, meaning that it has splits in it, you know, a deterioration, which in an older hat doesn't mean that it's not worth something, that it doesn't have value, but you want to note that to your buyer. Here's something that I wanted to point out on this one. Wait, I should have gone through this one too. Right there, the other thing besides the interior lining, they're going to want to know about the hat band. Oh gosh, it is so hard to like look through my camera and do this, so I'm sorry. This is annoying to people. So that's the interior hat band there, and they want to know, because sometimes, you know, it gets really creased. A little crease, that's not bad, but sometimes it gets sweat marks and stains, and it has to be replaced. So a person wishing to buy this would want to know that. Here's another thing that's very important. You pointed out here, you know, people asked you later for some more up-close images, and this is good, and it's good that you used your pencil to point with there too. But here's more what they, in addition to like little marks there, what they were asking about is, if I can zoom in, right there. See how there's like a little divot in that felt? It's because it's a moth bite, and that's not uncommon in any type of felt. And the difference between those little marks is when it's just a little divot like that, that's they call a moth bite or a moth nibble. But a moth hole will go all the way through, so that if you put your finger through, you could see your skin, you know. So, but I honestly feel that the reason why this hat did so well is because it's a genuine fur felt hat. And to my knowledge, the three types of felt, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, fur felt I should say, that is common in men's hats are wool, rabbit, which is often, you'll see the mark L-A-P-I-N, which we say lapin, but it's French, it's a French word, I think they say it lapin, or beaver. And beaver is an expensive fur. So I know when you look at this hat, it doesn't look like fur, because you don't see little fur hairs standing up. But I'll just tell you briefly, to make felt, the process up to I think about 1950s or so was a process called kerating, and they would take the hide of the animal and they would treat it with a solution of mercury and heat it, and so the back side of the hide, the skin part, would turn kind of a carrot orange, and then they would remove it and put it through something that looked like a sieve. So all the little hairs would fly off of that, and then they would take those little hairs, so I'll try to show you with my hands, like this. There's my hands. So like fur is like this, right? So once they take all the fur off, you have all these little random hairs, and so then they mat it like this, see? And so then that becomes like a fabric. You know, they sometimes use heat, they use pressure, etc. And so it makes literally a fabric like that. So I can see why it's hard to look at this, especially if you haven't been doing this long, and see that that is a fur hat and that it's a beaver hat. And since beaver is a wild animal and not domesticated like sheep or lamb. Wait, I just said that. Like sheep or rabbits, you have to actually go out and trap it. That makes it more expensive. Alright, that's the best knowledge I have on this situation. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more. If you have any comments, to tell me otherwise, I really would like to see those, but I'll answer all the other comments as well and enjoy them. And take care, and I'll see you again soon.